The natural world is beautiful. That's why we're here.
Hello everyone, I'm Eric Graham, the chairman of the Safina Center, and thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm coming to you from Stellwagen Bank, kind of in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and my lovely wife Jen is filming me right now. The Safina Center is a unique blend of art and science. Our people work on every continent, delivering award-winning creative work that inspires all of us to act on behalf of wild things in wild places. Tonight you'll hear about all the accomplishments of the past year, and here to tell us all about it is our founder and president, Carl Safina. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carl Safina. Great to see all of you. Some of you I recognize, some of you are new. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being here with us tonight. We have a fantastic evening for you tonight. We have Alan Alda. We have the great Paul Winter. We have special guests. We have our Safina Center fellows who make all this work actually happen. And we have some surprises. So stick with us, it's going to be great. Our mission at the Safina Center is nothing less than to advance the case for life on Earth. And we do that by fusing scientific understanding, emotional connection, and a moral call to action. We create award-winning books, articles, films, images, sound art, scientific research, and spoken words. Our work is in the service of wild things and wild places, and justice for truly all things, human and non. We're routinely recognized with some of the most prestigious international awards around. And our work has proven its power to engage people and to change their lives and their view of the world. Alfonso Joseph d'Abruzzo is an actor who's been with us all our lives. You probably don't know him by that name. You probably know him as Hawkeye from the series MASH. You've seen him in The West Wing. You've seen him in 30 Rock. He was Oscar nominated for the movie The Aviator. More recently, he's been in Marriage Story. He's a 6-time Emmy and Golden Globe winner and winner of the Screen Actors Guild Lifetime Achievement Award. But I know him best as someone who is passionate about communicating science, and as the founder of the Alan Alda Center for Communicating Science, of which I was on the first advisory board. So here now, my friend and my comrade, communication specialist, guru, Alan Alda.
Hi, I'm Alan Alda. Welcome to this year's annual Safina Center celebration. There's a lot to celebrate. It's been a difficult year in so many ways for so many people. We've all had to face the challenge of trying to figure out how to deal with things we've never dealt with before. But thanks to your support, the Safina Center has been able to pivot and to continue to thrive and be very productive. Tonight you'll hear about the Center's fellows. They're working from the Yukon to the tropics and sometimes far out at sea. You'll hear about art, about science, about new books published, and about Carl's new work. And you'll hear an amazing new piece by our extraordinary musical friend who never stops pushing boundaries, the great Paul Winter. And you'll hear more from me too throughout the program. I'll see you later.
Thank you, Alan. That was really fantastic. Deeply grateful. Thanks so much for being here with us tonight and honoring us with your presence.
Hello, I'm Jane Alexander. I'm honored to be involved with the Safina Center as one of its creative affiliates, artists and scientists coming together to protect the planet and all living things on it. Carl Safina is just simply one of our finest nature writers and artists and human beings and scientists, and he's always leading the way with hope.
Hi, I'm Andy Revkin. I value the Safina Center because Carl and his team uniquely blend science, story, and heart in pursuit of a better relationship between people and this wonderful planet.
Hi, I'm Lori Marino. The Safina Center is a unique combination of cutting-edge science along with warm-hearted advocacy for nature. I am honored to be part of it.
The Carl Safina Center for me is my way to remain connected with the scientific community and to follow the latest discourse, the latest quest, discoveries, the moral dilemmas about conservation. See, I am an actress. My name is Isabella Rossellini, so I work in the entertainment, I work in film, I work in theater. I am somewhat disconnected with the scientific world. So for me, the Safina Center is my bridge into that world, to remain connected.
I'm Rose Safina, and I'm happy that you're all here tonight. Did it come out good?
Only one musician can make all of the following claims. First musician to play jazz at the White House. First musician to bring bossa nova back from Brazil, Brazilian music, to North America. First musician to record with the sounds of wild creatures. First musician to create what we now think of as world music. He basically invented it. Not to mention, the only musician I know who's had the same gig for 40 years, the solstice concerts at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York City. And he is my friend, the great Paul Winter.
One morning in June, some years ago, outside our cottage here in the hills of Northwest Connecticut, I heard a wood thrush song that was brand new to me. And it was a very beautiful song, and I was fascinated by it, and I listened for it all morning and also in the evening. And one time, I heard it coming through the windows of the living room, and I went to the piano and realized that he was singing in C major. And so he kind of became my C major wood thrush. And he sung for us all summer, came back again the next spring, and for 5 years in a row, he graced us with his song, the same song in C major. And so I, of course, attempted to record him and would leave my DAT machine under the tree for hours. And at the end of those 5 years, I had probably 40 or 50 hours of DAT recordings, hoping that one of them would contain a kind of holy grail of a really great wood thrush recording right near the mic. Because, of course, you won't come near it if you're around. But I had never listened to the tapes. But I had in mind that someday I was going to do a wood thrush piece with that C major wood thrush. And last year, we finally got the tapes out and listened through them, and we found this holy grail of a song. And as I played his lines on my sax, I realized that the 4 phrases he sings, each of which has 3 notes, outlined 4 chords that happen to be the same first 4 chords of the piano prelude to the Bach Well-Tempered Clavier, which is, of course, in C major. And as if that were not enough, they also happen to be the first 4 bars of the equally famous cello suite, the prelude. And so I thought, this definitely calls for some piece to collaborate here with old JS. So from these threads, we wove together this piece, which I call the Well-Tempered Wood Thrush.
Wow, Paul, thank you. That was miraculous in your ability to hear and make all those connections and execute that incredible work of music. Thank you so much. That was really deeply heart-hitting.
I am back, and I came with some of my friends from the animal kingdom. I brought them along for Carl, who can probably understand everything they're saying to each other. Back in the days when people could meet in person, I had the chance to interview Carl on my podcast. The podcast is called Clear and Vivid, and that's exactly what Carl was. We had so much fun talking that we didn't have time to use the whole interview. So my producer, Graham Shedd, took part of the interview and added some video of his own with some really happy animals. This time, not swans, dogs. I think you'll enjoy it. Let's watch.
I'm Graham Shedd, the producer of Clear and Vivid, and today happens to be National Dog Day, which reminded me of a clip that we recorded a few months ago now when Alan talked to Carl Safina. Carl is a well-known author and naturalist, and their talk was about his most recent book, which is about whether animals can think and feel. Carl also happens, by the way, to be an important figure in founding the Alan Alda Center for Communicating Science at Stony Brook University. Oh, I want to introduce you to a dog, a very important dog in my life. This is Homer. We adopted Homer just a few weeks before the pandemic, which is lucky because a lot of people were looking for cats and dogs to help them get through the lockdown. Homer certainly helped us get through the lockdown because most days we go out for a long walk with him and finish up taking him to the local dog park. Anyway, the clip that we didn't have time for in the original show was when Alan talked to Carl about dogs, specifically about whether your dog loves you. So here's Carl addressing that question, and meanwhile we're going to take Homer to the dog park and let him run around a little while you listen to Carl.
You have a wonderful TED Talk in which you raise the question that probably all of us who have ever had a dog has asked himself or herself. Does my dog really love me?
And the answer is yes.
How do you know?
Watch what they do. Like, for instance, every morning in our bedroom, a room where we have never fed the dogs anything or given them any kind of a treat, they hop on the bed a little after it starts getting light. They're very polite. They don't do it at night. They wait till it starts getting light. They hop on the bed and they plop themselves right along our body. They want that proximity. They want that contact with us. And while we're asleep and haven't moved yet, they're happy to just do that. They just want that bodily contact. Then we have breakfast. Often we go out on the deck to eat breakfast if it's the warm months. The dogs come out, they lie around near us. They like being near us. They like to follow us around. They're happy in our presence. And that is love. I mean, what else is love? Love is wanting to be with somebody. And they clearly want to be with us.
How do we know it's not a version of the Stockholm Syndrome?
Well, because they're not being coerced at all, and there's nothing that we're doing to threaten them. You know, it's dogs in many ways are the people we aspire to being, and they have in our privileged lives anyway. Many of our dogs have lives that are really quite nice. You know, they're comfortable and secure and full of love and affection and appreciation. And they respond exactly that way, but they give it, if anything, they give it better than they get it. We've been friends for a very long time, and I think there's been some co-evolution. Everybody knows that dogs evolved from wolves hanging around human camps and scavenging scraps and that kind of thing, and eventually they started to change into dogs, and we had these hunting partnerships, and they were guards, and they did a lot of important things for us. But I think we co-evolved also a little bit with our emotional responses to them, because we respond to dogs in a way that we don't respond to any other animals. A dog wags its tail and it makes us feel happy. A cow wags its tail, it doesn't make us feel particularly anything.
And there's no other. I've watched a lot of animals doing a lot of behavior, moving around a lot. That's kind of what I've done for a living for a long time. No other animal has a singular bodily movement that changes our mood the way a wagging tail on a dog changes our mood. Sometimes our dogs may be lying on the floor, one of them totally facing away, looking like they're not paying any attention to anything. And say another one comes over to me, and I say, "Oh, aren't you such a good girl?" And then the one who's facing away, who I thought was asleep, his tail will start wagging, because knowing that we're all good and that we're all loving each other and in a good mood makes everybody happy. And I noticed a while ago that I think there's no single thing in my life that makes me smile as frequently as stuff my dogs do. They're just they are great companions. Well, this was a year that no one could have anticipated, right? Not even you. Did you anticipate this year? You didn't even anticipate it, did you? This is what I mean when I say there's been a silver lining to this year. Some of us got to spend more time at home with those we love, human and non-human, right? COVID-19 disrupted our book tours, our public speaking, our research, and our university teaching. It was time to get creative, and that's what we do best. Our writings have explored the COVID pandemic's origins and our abusive relationship with nature and other animals. We've published several books. Many canceled talks became online events. We've been interviewed for dozens of podcasts. We've been very busy. All of the not-for-profit groups have great and important missions. Some focus on policy, some on law, some on information. We focus on fusing all of that and making you feel it, because information alone is not doing the tricks. We don't want to just inform you. There's a lot of information out there. Information is not changing the world. What's changing the world is emotion. People don't just need news about what's happening. They need to understand and feel what's at stake. And that's what our people do best. Safina Center Fellows are at work all over the world, from New York City to the high Canadian Yukon, to the deep waters off Hawaii, to the high seas of South Asia, to Madagascar, to Africa, Europe, South America, and beyond. Every living thing, human and non, deserves the opportunity to live in a decent place with clean air, clean water, the opportunity to become who they were born to be and to live in dignity. That's what our work is about as we advance the case for life on Earth and justice for truly all beings. Finally, this year, we received 2 distress calls from indigenous communities in Mexico and Amazon, Peru, that had helped me do research in 2 of my books. COVID was hitting them really hard. We helped and we put the call out there, and many of you helped as well. And in that is the restoration of faith. When we all work together, we can make things happen. Our work has proven its power to change people's lives and their view of the world and of life on Earth. This is possible only because of you. Thank you so much for being with us. I can't express my gratitude deeply enough. I hope you enjoy seeing all the work we're doing, our wonderful little band of creative people at the Safina Center who are truly rocking the world. Are you rocking the world? You rock my world, that's for sure.
Hi everyone, I'm Myra Marino, and the Safina Center has been a huge part of my life for so many years now. I handle the administrative and financial end of the center, and I'm also Carl's personal assistant. And Manuni here is my personal assistant. One thing that I've learned after almost 20 years of working with so many talented and inspiring people is that in challenging times like these, we always rise to the top because we have a few things in common. We love our natural world, we love and respect one another, and because of that, we are never alone. One of my favorite quotes from Carl is this one. Facts alone can't save the world. Hearts can. hearts must. We're working to make sure that hearts do. Thank you all for joining us tonight, for supporting our very important work, and for helping us to change hearts.
Most of the work of the Safina Center is done by our fellows. Our fellows are chosen not just for their dedication to the facts, but for their ability to take the facts and make creative work such as books, films, paintings, sound art, music. We have 2 fellowship programs, one for mid-career people just arcing into the height of their powers, and the other for young professionals who are just entering their careers. And here now, they will tell you about their work.
Hello everyone, my name is Kike. I'm a photographer, an author, and always a dad. I had a vision of writing children's books that will actually inspire younger generations to aspire. I wanted these books to reach faraway and remote communities, so those that could actually not afford the books will receive them for free. In the last month, we have been able to distribute more than 5,000 free books, reaching places such as China, the Gobi Desert in Mongolia, Peru, or the Amazon or the Orinoco rivers. It's been an honor being part of a community of such talented people. But what really meant all the difference in the world to me, both personally and professionally, was being able to work under the mentorship of somebody that I truly admire. Carl Safina not only inspired through his words action across the world, I have to say and thank that he was available 24/7 to respond any queries, questions, or suggestions in connection to my project. For this, for the fellowship, and for this opportunity, I will always be thankful. And I don't want to forget that every single person, probably some of you are actually looking at us, your donations and your support have been extremely valuable. You truly made a difference. You made our projects happen, or at least jumpstart to move forward, and for that, we and us are extremely happy. I hope you and I will never stop dreaming.
Hello from the Yukon, Canada. I'm Dr. Kate Novak, a third-year Safina Center Fellow and a conservation scientist with the Canadian Parks and Wilderness Society. And behind me is the Yukon River on the traditional territories of the Kwanlin Dun First Nation and Ton Quechin Council. And this land provides essential services, which a Yukon First Nation elder and I wrote about for our local newspaper earlier this year. In my day-to-day, I have thought a lot about conservation across borders. Who is upstream and who is downstream? The Yukon River flows 2,000 miles, more than 6 times the Hudson, starting in northern BC, flowing through the Yukon, through Alaska to the Bering Sea. As part of my work this year, I have contributed to making recommendations for better mining in the territory, considering our neighbors as part of that. And that's because contamination can flow across boundaries, affecting the health of waterways, people, plants, and animals such as salmon, which swim upstream. The health of the environment, of people, and of wildlife is interconnected as one health. And rivers remind us of that, as do networks such as the Safina Center Fellows. So thank you for your support to help safeguard nature for nature's sake and nature as an essential service. Good timing!
Hi everyone, Robin Huffman here. I'm an artist and primate advocate who found her calling in a 12-ounce bundle of pure, potent nature. A baby monkey orphan named Maasai at Ape Action Africa Sanctuary in Cameroon. From that moment in 2007, primates became my mission. I've had the rare chance to live with and serve these remarkable individuals, and experience firsthand their transformative superpowers. I want to give others a glimpse into that intimate world through my art, my stories, and their voices. Typically, I paint large, but one very small painting of baby monkey Ayla gave me an idea when I saw people respond to it, as if they were feeling the baby herself. So I'm creating a series called Tiny Treasures, the Primate Orphans of Africa, portraits of babies I've cared for, their stories and vocalizations, and a couple, even their own artwork. Safina Center Fellowship has been invaluable. It's elevated my craft and amplified my message. The talented visionaries forging their unique paths to save the earth have been a generous and receptive resource. And of course, Carl, the uber inspiration. None of this is possible without you. We primates, thank you.
I'm Paul Greenberg. I'm the writer in residence at the Safina Center, and this is my new book, Goodbye Phone, Hello World. You might think it's a little strange for a nature-focused organization to be sponsoring a book about digital addiction. But actually, the more I wrote my last 3 books about the ocean, the more I saw people go deeper and deeper in their phones, the more I came to the conclusion that this is exactly the problem. We need to get out of the screen environment into the real environment. I mean, for example, did you know that the average American spends about 1,400 hours per year on their phone? With that amount of time and the amount of money we spend on phones, if every American gave up their phone, we could clean up all of our beaches of plastic pollutions more than 5 times over. We could reforest the United States to the point where we're actually sequestering a huge amount of carbon. So they're directly related. So I just wanted to use this opportunity to say thank you for supporting the Safina Center. Thank you for supporting this work. All of the donors, all of the members of this great community have been super effective, I think, in giving a voice to nature. So why don't you take a bit of that advice for yourself? Less phone, more nature in the year ahead. Thank you so much for your support.
Hi, my name is David Rothenberg. I make music with the sounds of nature, birds, whales, bugs. These days I'm staying close to home, recording underwater pond sounds in the forests around where I live in upstate New York. And inside these ponds you hear a mix of plants, insects, a kind of natural, rhythmic, electronic sounding music that I am doing my best to figure out, interact with, join in with. And I'm very grateful to the Safina Center for supporting this work. Thanks everyone for being here tonight, being part of this, and welcome.
I'm Eric Gilman. I'm a fisheries scientist at Hawaii Pacific University, and I'm based in Honolulu. My research focuses on ways to adjust fishing methods and gear to reduce the risk of catching vulnerable species and problems and solutions to derelict fishing gear. Through support from the Pew Fellows Program to the Safina Center, we're working to better understand ecological risks posed by tuna fisheries and to transition to integrated management of vulnerable bycatch. We assessed the feasibility of managing bait type to protect vulnerable bycatch. Our team, listed at the top of the slide, completed and recently published the research. If tuna fisheries using drifting lines and hooks baited with squid were to switch to fish bait, we estimated that this would avoid catching about 4,000 marine turtles and 10,000 metric tons of blue sharks every year. We're now conducting an ecological risk assessment of a Taiwanese tuna longline fishery to determine which populations are of highest risk. The approach looks at various attributes for productivity, like a species' maximum age, as well as indicators for susceptibility, such as aerial overlap. This figure is an example of the latter. It shows a distribution of leatherback turtles in the Pacific. The red dots show the vessel's fishing grounds. A third study will develop a decision tree for integrated bycatch management in collaboration with a Chinese fishing company and the largest global canned tuna company. I'm extremely proud to be a Safina Center Fellow and grateful to have the opportunity to work with this inspiring and optimistic group to find conservation solutions. Thank you very much for supporting the Safina Center.
Hi, this is Ian Urbina, and I just want to say a couple of things about my participation in the Safina Center. I'm a journalist, and I currently run the Outlaw Ocean Project, which is a nonprofit journalism outfit. It's a small group of us, about 5, and we produce stories about lawlessness at sea, more specifically human rights, labor, and environmental abuses that occur around the world offshore, and sort of the connection between them. We produce these stories and then usually start by placing them in large sort of tier one venues. So a month ago, NBC News, next month, The New Yorker, New York Times Magazine, these sorts of places. But then we try to get broader audience and different audience by converting the journalism into other forms and also partnering with foreign language media around the world. So we now have partnerships with 40 newspapers in as many countries, and we take the same reporting, translate it into foreign languages, and run those pieces for free in those venues. And then secondly, we also convert the journalism into other mediums. So we have a music project that we work with musicians to convert the journalism into music, hip hop, electronic, classical. We have a podcast being built by Nat Geo about the reporting and the music. We work with animators to do animated sort of artistic renderings. And this is all basically to try to get at more people and in a different way to get them to care and feel the concerns that exist out there. It's a real honor to be a member of the Safina Center family. Carl directly and his team are constantly supporting us, aside from just the financial backing, just intellectually and from a morale perspective, by boosting the journalism and introducing us to intellectuals and academics who are working on these issues and giving us feedback on the writing itself and the other products we produce. I just want to say thank you so much for all your support in making that relationship possible and ultimately making this journalism possible.
Aloha. My name is Bob Osterland. I'm the founder of the Kauai Albatross Network and a Safina Center Fellow. My work here is on private lands on rural Kauai on the North Shore, where lace and albatross nest. My job is to protect and advocate for them, as well as to monitor their seasonal work. The current project that I'm working on, I've just finished, is a book called The Birds of Kilauea Point. I'm both the author and the photographer. And also last year, I finished a film called Kalama's Journey, which is now, it's a Telly Award-winning film and also now been signed up for the Center of Global Environmental Education program, shown through K through 12 programs. So I can't say enough about what the Safina Center support means for me to do this work. It means everything. Your generosity has made all of this possible for these lace and albatross to have a home here in the inhabited Hawaiian Islands. So thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you so much, Carl, for writing Eye of the Albatross and inspiring me to begin with to do this work. And I invite you all to come see me. Come to Kauai when it's safe again to do so. Come here, let me show you the birds for yourself. You will be blown away by their greatness. Thank you so much. Mahalo and aloha.
Thank you, everybody. That is fantastic as always. And everybody else who's with us tonight, I'm sure that you feel as impressed and as inspired by our fellows as I do.
Hi, I'm Luann Rice, and I'm involved with the Safina Center because we need the Safina Center right now. The environment, humanity, just all around goodness. And I'm really proud to be a creative affiliate.
Hi, John Bowermaster here. What I like about being affiliated with the Safina Center is that I get to affiliate with really smart people, which is a great reminder to me that you're never too old to learn new tricks. So, thank you, Carl.
I'm Kathleen Dean Moore. I stand with the Safina Center because of its powerful defense of the beautiful, reeling world, a defense woven of ecology and ethics, anguish, love, and always moral courage.
I'm glad to be with you all tonight because I've been passionate about how people communicate science for a long time. Actually, since I was a boy. When I was 11 years old, I couldn't get a clear answer to a question that I had for my teacher. I asked her, "What is a flame? What's going on in there?" And she thought for a minute and she said, "Oxidation." So now there were two things I didn't understand. It's not that the answer was wrong, it's that it wasn't communicated to me in a way that made sense to me at that time in my life. I'm a fan of the Safina Center because they're so passionate about good, effective communication on issues of science and the environment and what we can do about them. Of all the nonprofit groups focused on conservation, the Safina Center has the creative edge. They aren't here just to give you the facts. There are plenty of facts around. Facts aren't enough. You need to feel why the facts are crucial. You need to feed your head, sure. But the people at the Safina Center also know how to open hearts. And that might be the most important part. Carl has gathered an extraordinary group of people who share Carl's passion for skillful, creative ways of communicating. They inspire us to act, to do what we can. Their books, their films, television shows, photographic images, paintings, and audio art, they all set the Safina Center apart from all the other not-for-profits in the realm of conservation science. They're scientists and they are artists, but above all, they are great communicators. While they speak to your mind, they get you in the heart. Thank you for supporting the Safina Center, for supporting its people, and the extraordinary work they do. You're helping keep Earth alive.
Our Launchpad program is a fellowship for exceptionally talented young people under 30. It's named after astronaut Kalpana Chawla, who took my first book, Song for the Blue Ocean, into orbit with her on the Space Shuttle Columbia. She helped endow this program along with help from her family. And now to tell you about their work, our Launchpad Fellows.
Hi, my name is Kate Thompson. I am a PhD candidate at Stony Brook University. I study conservation and medical anthropology. This is my 2-month-old daughter and future field assistant Carmen. My research focuses on bushmeat hunting in Madagascar. The hunting and consumption of wild meat is one of the greatest challenges to conservation today. However, it's also a vital source of nutrients and income for impoverished communities around the world. I work directly alongside hunters within these communities to understand which animals they're hunting, how much, and why. It's my hope that this work will not only provide a voice for the communities to describe their own needs, but also protect the wildlife species they live amongst. Outside of this work, I'm also an illustrator, and I use comics to communicate my fieldwork experiences and those of other diverse female scientists with a broader and hopefully younger community. And across the 4 years that I've been a fellow, the Launchpad Fellowship has made my research possible. It's allowed me to continue my work in a time where conservation funding from the government is slim. And it's allowed me to enrich this further by investing in art projects that cross linguistic and cultural barriers, not just in Madagascar, but also with the children's home that I help run in Tanzania, so that we can get even the youngest among us interested in all these things we hope to accomplish.
Hi, my name is Jessie Perlman, and I'm a current PhD student at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, and I study oceanography and deep sea marine biology. And the focus of my research involves trying to understand the potential impacts of deep seabed mining. This is an emerging industry that hasn't quite gotten into full swing yet, but the scope will be millions of square kilometers across the abyssal seafloor in several ocean basins, particularly the Pacific Ocean Basin, to mine for metals and minerals that are used in modern day electronics and car batteries and things like that. So I focus on trying to understand how a lot of animals in the water column above the seafloor where these minerals are might be affected by the mining process and this big industry as it emerges. So I've been a Safina Center Launchpad Fellow for the past 2 years, and this has meant the absolute world to me. It's allowed for me to have many opportunities from attending conferences and workshops, traveling to various places including Washington, Jamaica, and New Zealand, to name a few. And so I want to thank all of you as viewers and supporters so very much for all of your support.
Hi there, my name is Erica Serino, and I'm a writer, artist, and wildlife rehabilitator. Basically, I document plastic pollution, translate and amplify the messages of the non-human animals I care for, and sail around this curious world we inhabit. With the generous support from the Safina Center, I've been able to devote the past 4 years of my life to following the story of plastic pollution by land and sea. I've crossed North America, Europe, Southeast Asia, West Africa, the Caribbean, the Arctic Circle, and the Pacific Islands. I've now just completed writing a book, my first book, about these journeys and the discoveries I've made along the way. Being a Safina Center Launchpad Fellow has helped me recognize that most conservation issues today arise due to broken human values, which we so desperately need to shift in order to create positive change, for the sake of people and also all other life on Earth. I am humbly grateful to be a part of an extraordinary group of changemakers who challenge the status quo. We are the best kind of rebels. We go against the grain in the most emotionally moving, elegant, and eloquent ways possible. The creativity of my peers here at the Safina Center inspires me deeply. Dear supporters, thank you for your kind donations that make the groundbreaking work of the Safina Center possible.
My name is Ben Mirren, and as a former Safina Center Fellow, I traveled the world recording animal sounds and sampling their voices to create music that inspires conservation. I've produced film and television series, computer games, and went on tour as a live DJ to connect young audiences with nature through the joyous vehicle of music. Now, thanks to the continued support of the Safina Center, I am a Launchpad Fellow, pursuing my PhD at Cornell University. I'm based in the Lab of Ornithology, where I study bird singing contests, a global phenomenon in which wild birds are trapped and forced to sing in cages for money. This form of poaching is having dire consequences on wild bird populations around the world, including in the United States. By working in Indonesia as a PhD student, which is the global capital of bird singing contests, I hope to understand this tradition more deeply so we can plant the seeds for its transformation and find a sustainable way to celebrate the beauty of birdsong and the joy it brings into our lives. Untuk semua yang datang ke acara ini, terima kasih banyak.
Hi, my name is Molly Adams. I use she, her, and they, them pronouns, and I'm the president and founder of the Feminist Bird Club and the Advocacy and Outreach Manager for New York City Audubon. The Feminist Bird Club is an inclusive bird-watching club for Black, Indigenous people of color, members of the LGBTQ community, and women. We have 10 chapters in North America and in the Netherlands. We fundraise for social justice with our chapter in Toronto raising over $20,000 in just 1 week for a social justice birdathon. Due to the pandemic, we've transitioned from monthly in-person walks and events to different types of engagement online. We officially became a nonprofit in March, and our board is currently working on helping several new chapters get ready to launch while setting protocols for new in-person events to resume. To me, being a Launchpad Fellow gives me hope for the future of prioritizing social justice and promoting diversity within conservation organizations, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it. Thank you all so much for your support.
Thanks everyone, that was terrific, as always, and I hope everybody watching is as inspired by our young fellows, our Launchpad Fellows, as I am. I find their work to be absolutely terrific and inspiring. 2020 was a very difficult year, the worst in decades for race relations in the United States. My recent book, Becoming Wild, examines culture and mostly non-human animals. And one thing that culture does is it causes individuals to clump together into groups that have a group identity based on culture, but then those groups tend to want to avoid one another. Humans have to do better because our cultures are mixing and mingling every single day. And it's not really that hard for us to get along, but we're finding it very, very difficult. Here to talk about that is our Launchpad Fellow, Molly Adams, with a panel of young experts. Here we go, Molly. Take it away.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Molly Adams. I use she, her, and they, them pronouns, and I'm the founder and president of the Feminist Bird Club. I'm happy to be here today with my two good friends and colleagues, Jeff Ward and Martha Harbison, to have a short conversation about discrimination in the conservation and outdoor community and ways to make it more welcoming to BIPOC, which means Black, Indigenous, people of color, and queer communities. Jeffrey Ward uses he, him pronouns and is one of the FBC's most prolific walk leaders and a co-organizer of Black AF in STEM and Black Birders Week. Martha Harbison uses they, them pronouns and is the VP of the Feminist Bird Club and is Senior Network Content Editor at National Audubon Society. So we'll start with question number 1. We have 2 questions. Can you please share a time that you felt unsafe or unwelcome while bird watching or working with a conservation organization? We'll start with Jeff.
Okay, well, all of my unsafe or unwelcoming moments happened during birding. I was once followed by a cop in Crotona Park in the Bronx that went along and asked me what I was doing, even though I clearly had binoculars looking into a tree. I had a cop just last week. I had the cops called on me just last week out here in Texas for wearing an out-of-state baseball jersey because apparently it's going to make some people upset. I've been called the N-word in New Jersey outside of a window. Had people yell racist things out of a car in Georgia, but it's the less in your face moments, like unintentionally scaring people while on trails. A young white woman jogging towards me, and it's only me and her on the trail, and she turns around and runs the opposite way. It's things like it's the not so much in your face moments like that. Things that most white men and women don't have to think about. It makes me feel like I have to display my binoculars to make it 100% clear that I'm out birding, because one, I want everyone to know that I'm there for the birds and not for people at all. And two, I feel the need to display it more because I don't want it to be taken as a possible weapon if there's cops around. And I know that may sound dramatic, but crazier things have been taken as weapons.
Thank you for sharing. Martha?
Yeah, I've actually had unsafe interactions both while working for a conservation organization and in birding, having to do both with my gender identity and my sexual orientation. You know, the ones with the conservation organization are pretty typical. Like, I don't tell people, I don't insist on my pronouns when I'm out in the field because I'm not sure if people are going to be accepting of that. And when you're in a remote area out banding or doing surveys, you're at the mercy of that person. And if you don't know them very well, so it's like, I am very aware of people's body language and how I present myself and how I talk about my partner and myself. It's also happened when I've gone to other countries, because again, you just don't know what the local feelings are around LGBTQIA people. When it comes to birding, one very specific incident or situation that I don't think a lot of people really appreciate is that there's a lot of push right now, and we actually even people ask us about this at Feminist Bird Club, like, is this for women? And it's totally great that people are trying to make safer spaces for women, because women have been traditionally excluded from conservation and the outdoors. But the thing is that women are not necessarily accepting of trans people and non-binary people like I am. And so there are a lot of times when people are just like, yes, it's for women and this, that, whatever. I basically think am I about to get attacked for being, and maybe not physically attacked, but verbally attacked for being trans? And it really makes me pause when people are when they think that they're being inclusive, and it is in fact driving me, and especially non-binary people who were assigned male at birth. It drives people like us totally away, because it feels completely unsafe.
Thank you for sharing that too. What should conservation organizations do better to support Black, Indigenous people of color, BIPOC, and queer communities?
Simply treat everyone the same. It's not that hard. If you want to reach different people in different communities, hire people from those communities to do the work in those communities. Openly show your support, amplify voices. You can easily just amplify a voice on social media by simply retweeting or reposting something from someone from the communities mentioned in the question.
There's a couple of things I think that conservation and outdoor organizations can do. The first thing, of course, is to listen, because these communities are making it very clear what they need, what we need, in order to feel included, and being, given an equitable space around, conservation and birding. But that there are other approaches, and other communities may have just as valid approaches that look very different to yours, but they can work together. So we're not working at cross purposes. It's like a feminist bird club is not necessarily like in competition with a lot of other like more traditional birding clubs or Audubon societies. We are working in parallel, and we work together, and we're stronger together. So I think that really like listening to what we're saying, and where you can say like, we will not dictate to you how you can be excellent.
Thank you both, Martha and Jeff, for sharing both your experiences and ways that organizations and people can change. Thank you to everyone who is watching this at the Safina Center Gala. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Molly, and thank you to the panel for words and ideas that are so important. We all need to bear them in mind. And now for something very special. When I was in college, I heard a new melody. So beautiful, I had to know what it was. It was a song called Icarus, named after the mythical character who, on wings of feathers and wax, flew too close to the sun, the wax melted, and he tumbled into the sea. I guess it's a myth about humility. I found out that it was a song recorded by the great Paul Winter, written by Ralph Towner. I loved the song so much that when I acquired a red-tailed hawk that could no longer fly, I named him Icarus. Now, if I ever get to heaven and they ask me, what would you like to do while you're here? I would probably say, I would love to play Icarus in a band with Paul Winter. Well, luckily for me, I'm still here on Earth, but I'm about to get my wish. I hope you enjoyed listening to that and watching it half as much as I enjoyed playing it and doing it. And now, just for fun, we're going to close out the evening with 2 more tunes with Peter Slavov on bass, Grammy-nominated Peter Slavov, and keyboardist Enrique Eisenman. We're going to play a Horace Silver classic called Song for My Father, and we're going to dedicate that tonight to Isaac Bloch. And we're also going to do a Herbie Hancock classic called Cantaloupe Island, pretty much in that same groove. So hope you enjoy, and then we're going to say good night. Well, hi, everyone. We hope you enjoyed that half as much as we enjoyed putting that together for you. And if you stick with us, after the credits, we're going to let everybody into the room and we'll have a nice live chat. Anybody who wants to just say hello. So see you in a few moments.